So the season has ended, as I said, for like a few different videos at this point. Let's talk about Dr. Stone Science Future, which, if I remember correctly, this is actually the 4th season of Dr. Stone, and I don't know if you want to count New World Part 1 and Part 2. Both of those put together were technically Season 3, so yeah, Season 4, technically speaking. And without going into too much detail in the plot, because I feel like if there is anything that I talk about, we're kind of deep into the story, both in terms of characters and events, that if I get into too much detail, that it's going to give away a little bit too much. So unless you understand the history of Korn, this is going to be very interesting. So basically, Senku are wanting to get Korn with actually, you know what? The synopsis kind of says a little bit too much anyways. Normally when you look at a show, it's like, this is the first season, this is the second season, this is the third season. The synopsis actually kind of gives it away a little bit. Basically, so we're kind of like in the midst of trying to find out who petrified the entire world. How could they have possibly petrified the entire world? And so effectively, Senku is like, what's the closest thing that we have to be able to aim a weapon or thing at in order to be able to petrify an entire planet? Well, we have the moon. So basically, Senku's idea is we're going to travel to the moon. But in order to do that, we need lots and lots of corn to make more of this depetrification liquid, to be able to get more sound-minded individuals to be able to create rockets and stuff like that to get our crew onto the moon. And by getting them onto the moon and playing in a little bit of diplomacy between Japan and America, don't worry, it'll make sense later on. Basically, the goal is to get these lads onto the moon. And why would you want them to get onto the moon? Because there is a possibility that the villain, the mastermind, the one behind the petrification of the planet, was in fact on the moon the whole time. Possibly. I don't know where else this thing could go. I don't know what could possibly happen. This has been a fairly interesting season. What makes this season different from a lot of other seasons is that we are now pitting two relatively smart individuals against each other in a war on how one would actually start the world anew through the knowledge of science. Basically, should science be used to rule the world and the scientist be the dictator of the world? Or is it better that everyone shares in the wealth of the knowledge that the scientist in question holds? And so it's basically a science v science type of series of mind games using chess analogies, because I feel like that's usually a bit of shorthand when it comes to this sort of writing. That being said, all in all, the returning cast, great group of characters, can't really complain too much about them. Maybe they might be a little bit too archetypal in that sense. The new characters, their backstory and relationships are actually built fairly quickly, so you do need to understand and get to know them within a short amount of time, but they don't waste all that much time doing it. So it does seem a little bit rushed, but at the same time, the important stuff, there isn't really that much to know. So you basically understand the basic idea for the most part. In terms of the opening and ending themes, opening theme, I kind of liked it for a bit, but then after a few episodes, I kind of got tired of it, and I do not remember the ending theme at all. Actually, no, I really like the ending theme. I actually thought the ending theme was a banger. I was about to say I completely forgot about it, but actually, it starts off quite simple, but then kind of leans off with like Gen playing around with tarot cards effectively. Yeah, so I would say opening theme, I liked it initially for the first couple of episodes, got tired of it after that and just skipped it every time. And the ending theme I listened to each time, which was actually quite nice. I actually quite liked the ending theme, so I don't really have much in the way of negatives to say about that. So opening theme, fine. Ending theme, good. Characters, like I said, old characters that are returning, exactly what you would expect. New characters, gotta get used to the quick, like, snappy, here's the history lesson on all these characters, but in a short period of time, and what happened prior to the petrification, and where these characters kind of stand, as well as a bit of a recap every now and again, just to kind of let us know as the watcher, in case we've forgotten what the heck is going on. Story-wise, though, the whole science v science aspect of using a chess analogy between two incredibly smart people, the chess analogy felt a little bit too much of a shorthand, and I feel like they may have been able to get a little bit more creative with the analogies, but all in all, Dr. Stone is perfectly fine. Story-wise, I don't think that I have much to complain about. I think one of my biggest complaints for the series so far has been the science taking a back seat, because if there is a unique selling point to this show compared to a lot of other shonen anime, and like largely it's like, you know, battle shonen and stuff like that you would normally see, having science be a prevalent theme, and the evolution of humanity, as well as not just looking at simple chemical reactions, but also how that has benefited humanity from the past and moving forward. So it's just really cool things to see. Sure, it's all fictional, it's just that using some of these science elements to bring in a little bit more brain rather than brawn is actually quite beneficial in bringing something a little bit unique or different to the table. Sure, I'm sure there might be some other like shonen shows that actually do make use of, you know, smart characters in different ways, but using science in particular, I kind of like it, especially in the backdrop of a world that is being rebuilt basically from the Stone Ages, which has always been an interesting idea. So that's opening and ending theme, there was the story, the characters, the backdrop of America, using corn as a stepping stone in the overall plot moving forward. Again, interesting idea. I do wonder where all of this is going to ultimately lead to. I'm again not 100% certain as to what the main goal is going to be moving forward, because again, we don't truly know until the very end. But yeah, so with all of that being said though, I had a good time watching the show, nay possibly a great time. But again, certain aspects of the actual story did fall a little bit short for me, and there are a couple of things that happened that are rushed off a little bit too quickly, one of which is Senku using the flower for a particular reason, which I'm not going to go into too much detail on, but Senku plus flower, I think if you've seen the show, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about without getting into too much detail. So this was just a perfectly good time, and my anime list, I'm actually going to bring out the app, gonna go to edit, completed the show, and that score I'm giving it is a 7 out of 10. I think that it is good. It is not quite what season 1 and season 2 put together were, because season 1 was also fine, so was season 2. It's just the things that were lacking in season 2, season 1 did really well, and season 1 was only lacking because it was an introduction to the characters in the world. So I think that Dr. Stone is so far just a good show. I do hope that it, you know, starts to really build up upon the stuff that it does well, but it hasn't quite been capitalizing on the sciencey aspects in the way in which season 1 did, with solid character writing and a good story to boot. So it really needs to, you know, balance all of these things together, in my opinion, to do really, really well. But with all of that being said, if you've seen Dr. Stone season 4, aka Dr. Stone Science Future, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, because I'm more interested in hearing the opinion of someone who's seen the show and whether or not they agree or disagree with me. And of course, whether or not, if you haven't seen the show, if somehow I've also convinced you to watch the show. Because again, there are some good points to it, but there are also some negatives to boot, and I think that all shows kind of share some amount of all of those things. So yeah, like I said, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. With all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.